All right, and we are recording today. We are catching up with DR Donny Robinson. Donny, how you doing?
Good deal. Very good. Very busy, and son's taking a nap, so perfect time to do a little potty.
How old's your son now?
He is going to be 3 years old at the end of next month.
And he's already riding, right? I saw little videos and stuff.
Yes, he's riding a pedal bike on the BMX track, and he's a danger boy, and it's taking a lot to keep up with him. So
Does he like it?
he loves it, and it was very interesting in the beginning. Strider actually sent us one of their rockers and Strider bikes, and he just wouldn't do it. Like, at least on the rocker attachment, and it was like breaking my heart because I was like, "Come on, I want you to like at least what I like a little bit, right? You don't have to try to become what we did or whatever, but I want you to like riding bicycles and to go into the BMX track and type thing." And so he didn't take to it, and then all of a sudden, like, he was able to walk with it off of the rocker, and he would like make a course around our living room, and it was like not stopping him from there. So it was good. So now he's just like taking it wherever he can go, and so he loves the bicycle and BMX, and it feels good.
Yeah. So if he gets really into it and he wants to start chasing points and state, national, are you all in again?
I don't know. I'm probably going to slow the process. I mean, just like I do with all of our beginners here and those on my team. It's like, look, like, if you want to have longevity, just take it slow, right? Our sport is all about, rush, 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 do as much as you can in the beginning, and then just get burnt out and then leave the sport. So I know how dangerous that is, and I know how guys like us, survive. Like, there's very few of those. So it's just all about doing it intelligently. So yes, I will give him the opportunity, but we'll try to not be a factory dad that terribly or that quickly.
Right. No, I get it. I totally get it. Um, Seems like, I mean, you're not a big poster, you're very humble. You never, even when you was winning stuff and that, I don't think I ever saw you even put your hand up when you won a major title or something. You're very, very quiet and humble, and in your own little quiet, humble world, you've got a whole big community up there in Napa with your grassroots programs, your team, dream team, right? That's what it's called.
Yes. Yep.
So yeah, give everybody the update. I know a lot of the, especially the people that are probably back in Europe and in England and stuff, they probably really like to know what you've been up to and stuff. And yeah, if they're not literally following you, nobody knows. So a lot of people wouldn't know. So give us a scoop.
Yeah, no, that whole posting thing, like, I couldn't even imagine being an athlete right now, right? Having to do double duty and all the stuff that they do. Like, yeah, it's crazy how much I've turned into Kyle Bennett. Because he was the same way, right? Like,
Yes.
super, super just reserved and everything, and not shedding light on him at all, and all that stuff. So yeah, it's interesting, right? So this whole BMX Racing League concept, structured programming in the sport, taking it back even a step from novice and focusing on beginners, and really just giving them their own space in the sport, right? It's just not having them come out amongst other novice, intermediate experts. The idea of trying to get people into the sport, and being around all of those other people, right? That's the whole problem. It's like, just tougher competition, and getting moved up in proficiency or age when you're racing your first race ever, and then getting bombarded with parents saying, "Oh, you'd be way faster with a $2,000 bicycle," all that stuff, right? Like, these new families, they don't need it. And so it was just weird, right? Like, Mike Carruth had this whole concept of this structured programming for beginners only, and when he and I really connected, as friends instead of just athlete and photographer around 2014. He was sharing this idea with me just on road trips that we would take together. And I said, "Hey, I'm coming to the end of my career, and I've got pretty much the support in my hometown as far as my track goes with implementing anything new that we want." And my track is just like every other track, right? We're pulling 10 to 15 motos a night, and there's this board that four people do everything. The track operator was also the president and the tax guy and the track maintenance and all that stuff. Ray Gomez, he was in the game for a decade. Allowed me to go out to the track like I wanted, and just practice and be the pro and all that. So it was great. But this idea of having a Donny 2.0, after my career, fit perfectly with this beginner concept, because I love kids. I can relate to parents. I can talk pretty well publicly, and I've got the support of my local track in town. And so we just said, hey, let's give this whole beginner concept a shot in Napa and just see where it goes. And it was great, like right off the bat in late summer of 2016. It was basically, we had 40 people show up, sight unseen, really. Like, and we didn't even do hardly any promotion in the beginning, because I kind of left it up to our Parks and Rec department. So I was like, oh man, this is gonna be great. They're gonna have an email list. They're gonna have, give us a ton of kids. So we started promoting it like a month before our start date. And at that time it was $100, right? $100 for 5 weeks, 5 sessions. It was at that time a 3-hour long session. The kids would get instruction and racing, and they would get jerseys. And when we say jerseys, it's a jersey to them. To us, it's just a long sleeve T-shirt. They'd get number plates. They'd get an award at the end of the program, not after each race type thing. They'd get a pizza party. So it's just like every other youth activity league out there. Essentially, you pay a fee up front and you get to participate in this program, and then after that you can come back to the program, or you could then go into open racing. And that was our whole point, is like, let's get kids through this program, let's get them into open racing, which nobody prior to the BMX Racing League said open racing. Like, that was a phrase coined by Mike Carruth. It's just like open bowl, right? You just go and you bowl, and you can come back or not or whatever. And so that's open racing to what we have in our sport. And so it was good, right? So off the bat, Parks and Rec kind of led with it. They didn't do anything the first 2 weeks. The guy from Parks Department actually went to the gym with me, and I was like, dude, we've got nobody. We've got like 3 kids. So after that, I took it on, doing the marketing, the promotion. I just went to Facebook, because that's where all the parents and grandparents were. So at the start date, we had 40 riders paying $100. We didn't do an open house. We didn't do anything. They were just, hey, let's show up and see what this is all about. So that was, late summer of 2016. We followed it up right after that with an early winter version, like a fall version. We had like 39 enroll in that one. Some return people, mostly new people. And then we had winter break and went into spring of 2017. Harder marketing efforts on Facebook, threw some cash behind it. Came back with like 117 riders.
Wow. Amazing.
And from there, it's just kind of taken off. We as a city shut down in 2020, so we didn't get to run the program at all like we know it in 2020. In 2021, as a sport, right, just everybody flocked into race BMX, which was very cool. Our numbers that year, we had 505 unique beginners. Wow. That means 505 different kids with different names. And they enrolled for some like 796 spots throughout the year, right? So these kids, some of them repeat and all that stuff. So that was really cool to see. Last year we had 394 unique beginners, and they filled like 550 league program spots. So it's amazing. It's great. It's was the start, the whole plan. I mean, Dale, you're gonna have to stop me, because I'm gonna just talk about this for forever.
No,
it's just my it's just my passion. And so it was amazing that I was able to really like end my last lap as a professional BMX racer at the Grands in 2016. I took my uniform off and I went into the track operator room and told them about the success that I had with this beginner program. And it was unlike any other beginner program that had ever been done. Like there's a rhyme and reason to everything that gets done, from the wording and the promotion to the look that we have and the words that we use on site with these new families. It's always something. And so we're not winging it. We're not doing any of that stuff. So it's cool to be able to transition like that from like one passion to another. And so to see the growth, to see the potential, it was unbelievable. Now, obviously we learned some things along the way. The people who would graduate themselves, because they could choose to repeat the program or not, like they could then go into open racing. But what we saw is those people that went into open racing, 6 months later, they would just quit. They'd just disappear. And we were like, what the heck just happened? They love the sport so much. They love the community. And it's all the same. Like it was kind of all the same, right? And so we started to sit back and be like, why are we losing these families? And essentially it was the thought of, okay, our job is done now. They're in open racing. They love the sport. They're going to find a team. They're going to be all good. And our hands are off. We're going to just go for the next generation type thing. And that was not the way that it worked. We know that the majority of the teams out there want the best of the best. And so they're not going to just invite somebody onto their team. It doesn't mean that the track is going to have any sort of coaching on a weekly basis. So these people are coming from this league program. They have the camaraderie. They have essentially a team. They have the coaching. They have the racing. They have all of this stuff like spoon fed to them. And to think that we could just send them into open racing and then like stick around, well, that's not the case. And so we learned that and we said, okay, if we need that team environment and we need that extended coaching, what can we do? Well, I said, okay, that's where the dream team comes into play. And I needed to find something that like that had DR. And so
yeah, it's perfect.
Dream.
Yeah,
I know the dream team, right? Magic
right.
and all that stuff, whatever. but it just worked, and we ran with it. But that's it. So I was like, okay, so now every single rider that graduates from the league program can be on my dream team. I don't care how good they are. In fact, I don't want them to be good because I believe in them on that very first day, and they've committed to the program. And so I want to see where they can go from here. And so I'm going to invest in them. I have never in the close to 6 years that this dream team has been in existence, ever charged my team to train them. Every Tuesday night, we go out there and there's some like 60 kids out there
Wow.
during our team trainings. And so it's just about, fostering this environment in this community at the local level. So we've got the league program. Then these riders will then go on to Dream Team. They can stay on my team forever, right? We've got dozens of experts now, and we've got tons of novices and intermediates, everybody in between. Some of them will move on to other teams, and they'll need something different that they think, and so that's fine too. But really, this closeness as a track, everybody having a team, everybody being accepted and involved and heard, is what is allowing our track to grow 18% every single year. It's just like clockwork. And so to have like essentially a mathematical equation that you could be like, I know how many people I'm going to have this year at our track. Like in this almost like linear growth that we're seeing, it's just cool. So everybody benefits. Our track is bigger than it's ever been. Everybody on our board graduated from the BMX Racing League program. So it's just, like I said, I could talk about this forever, just singing the praises of the parents and the families, the lack of drama, not that we don't have it, but it just seemed like it's as bad as it used to be, or at some other places. We really, got to make sure that everybody volunteers and the attitudes and all that stuff, we just keep it in check because, I've been very blessed to have led the life that I have and been to the places that I have. And so, so far, nobody's been and done what I have. And so please listen to me for the moment. But my whole goal is to make our riders better than I was, better people, better racers. And so we're off to a good start.
Absolutely amazing what you're doing. Obviously, it's a full-time job. How many days a week are you at the track?
Well, so we've got Tuesday, our team training. We've got Thursday is our race day. We've got Saturday is our race day. Sunday is when our league is in session. That's when our league runs. We have Monday open practice, but I don't go to those. I need some days off.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's I am just like every other parent and writer out there. Like I volunteer my time on Tuesdays. I volunteer my time on Thursdays and Saturdays. I'm announcing. Not that like I want to be the only person announcing, but it's cool, right? And I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. But in our league program, we've got the people that are in open racing are on my team that are coming back doing junior coaching, and they're announcing, they're essentially like running the program. Like I'm guiding everything, but there are stagers and scorers and announcers, and they're, 11, 12, 13 years old. So it's just it's so cool to see everything that we built. And we try not to keep up with the Joneses, and yeah, we'd love to be, pointed higher in the track versus track battles, but really it's just like when you look at what we've done and where we're at and the amount of total racers that we have, there's nobody better. So
No, absolutely. Seem like the Tyler Brown of Napa, just nonstop every day, always at the track doing stuff. But you can tell by just listening to you, the passion and stuff. Is there a long-term goal, or are you just happy just to kind of doing what you're doing?
I don't. So, I mean, come on. The whole goal was to have every single USA BMX track adopt the BMX Racing League program. It was built for them, right? Like they didn't have to do anything except for run the program. Just read the documents, listen to the success that we've had, and the reason that we've had so much success, and just copy and print and paste and just do it yourself. In the very beginning, it was good. It was adopted pretty well. The first year we had like a dozen tracks, and the whole goal was to work with USA BMX, right? Like let's prove the concept and then bring it in house, and let's all work together to benefit everybody. And so to see like our first tracks have better results than even I had at my local track was just like proof positive. Again, like it doesn't take an Olympian, a pro, somebody that can speak, like nothing. It just takes people that are willing and passionate to dedicate the time. And so I then went on board with USA BMX at the Grands actually in 2017. They acquired the program and I went in as the director. And so 2018 and 2019, I ran the program for them. Had some great success, thousands of riders, dozens of tracks. And we just kind of like, I wanted to see it elevate and escalate from there. And that was not to be. In 2020, they fired me. So that was the end of that. And so from there, I was just like, okay, I don't necessarily have to. I was never trying to sell tracks, right? Like this is not. I don't need it, right? Like I could just hang out at my house and run my program. I want these track operators. I want these volunteers to have more money, have more time, have more racers, have more help, like all of that stuff, because it transformed our track. And I'm not to say that our track was bad before. It was amazing. It allowed me to become who I was. But there's always stress, right? There's always turnover. There's always some disgruntled people because they don't have help. So we just wanted to grow this whole thing. And since that didn't take off, kind of like Mike Kruth and I wanted to, he's still helping tracks that want to be on the board with the program, and I'm still involved as any track wants me to be. It's not like I'm not willing to help. I absolutely am, but really it's just kind of focusing on my own program here and seeing that grow and seeing what's next. I mean, we haven't even tapped into balance bikes yet at all. It's been something that I've wanted to do for years. Strider and all that stuff. So yeah, there's stuff that I can do, but it's just so crazy how having a kid just makes everything that much more difficult. It's like, well, I can't get anything done around the house. I need to clean my garage. I can't get to the gym. I want to put a gym in my garage. And so all of these things have to take a back seat. So all the stuff that's in the mind that you want to do may not come as quickly, but the idea of making sure that our track is still the best it's ever been. Our team is running smooth. Our league is not losing members type thing. As long as I got that and I'm being a great dad and not neglecting my child at all, then I think I'm content with where I'm at.
Obviously, you're a hardworking guy, and it's got to be a good feeling for yourself being at home at your local track. You probably obviously don't miss the traveling, right?
I haven't traveled since the Grands in 2019.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah. And well, I've never liked flying. I've always been petrified of it, but I did it. We had to do it, right?
Yeah.
But to have went from flying 50,000 miles a year to not flying at all the last 3 years. And I have my first flight on Saturday. My family is taking us to Hawaii. So I am very anxious about that flight, but
Everything's changed a lot. You wait till you get in that airport.
yeah. We're gonna definitely take extra time, but no status anymore, no none of that stuff. And so I'm very interested to see if I really did miss it or not. But yeah, like after I was retired, I was like, oh, I don't have to travel anymore. And of course, I did for my role with USA BMX. But I think part of me misses traveling, at least just like a little bit.
Yeah, I think me like once a month. I feel like I feel like I need to go somewhere, and sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But what a lot of people don't know, but you was factory at a very young age, so you was traveling as a young kid, right? How old did you first? When you first got on a plane and Big E would meet you the other side of the country somewhere.
Big E hooked me up when I was 12 years old. Evansville, Indiana was my first power light race. I will never forget it. We flew in a little crop duster into the Evansville airport, mad thunderstorm. It was the worst turbulence. I was so petrified. And then I remember everybody meeting at baggage claim. Yes, from the time I was 12 until I was 36 years old, it was like nonstop travel.
Yeah, you've probably traveled more than most of us. Like I say, you was factory and so young, and on the schedule so young. Yeah, you really did a longevity in that. So yeah, cool. Let's change gears a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about some of the old stuff, because that's what I like to talk about as well. I guess we don't need to go through your whole career. We've done it before, and you've done numerous podcasts. But let's just hit on some of the highlights. I guess third place at the Olympics, '09 world champion. I don't know. Tell us a little bit about both.
Yeah, I mean it's the Olympics. Everybody knows the Olympics. When you're Olympian, you're a hero. When you're a medalist, it's even better. It's hard not to bring that up, right? Like it's like, well, are you an Olympian or are you a medalist? And so to brag a little bit and to tell that to people, they understand it, they comprehend it. It's good. The whole world champion thing, they get that too. It's just not as much. It's but that world championship was my last pro win ever. And so I tell people, right, the last time I won a pro men's event was the world championship. And it was great that was where I ended it. But it's crazy that was, 14 years ago, the last time that I won. And
You never won a race in a rainbow jersey?
uh, and that's a good question. But no, I don't think so.
Oh, wow.
I don't believe so. That's kind of hard to like comprehend, I think a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah,
I don't have that,
absolutely.
but no, it had to have been my last because I've been stuck on that my whole time since then. Like that was it. That was my last victory. And not that I didn't podium many times, but I don't think that I ever reached to the top again. And it's not like I'm saying that to like I want to improve my story or whatever, but it doesn't. I think that was truly the last time that I won because yeah, I can guarantee it because after that in Madrid, first Supercross of 2010, that's when I got injured for the first time, like concussion and collapsed lung, and it was over from there. So I would have had to have won the latter half of 2009, and I don't believe that I did because I think I hit Disney Cup, and that was all. So
I seem to remember, I think it's another podcast you talked about that '09 Worlds. Now, if I'm right, you didn't win a race up until the main?
no, I was getting my butt kicked in the motos, like thirds and fourths.
Yeah.
I just made it to the eights, so eighths, quarters, semis, main. I won all four of those laps.
Okay.
So it was, the world championships for me never went well as an elite pro. I just could never like convert on making it happen, even though like I would win the most right at the other races during the year. Like it wasn't happening. And that 2009 Worlds was starting off the same. It was crazy because I wasn't funded. Like the Olympians weren't funded to the 2009 World Championships, so I went there alone on my own dime. Michael Fenwick picked me up from the airport. I stayed in the Hilton that we had stayed in for the World Cup in 2008, and so it was good. Everything was familiar, but it was on my own. And so I would train during the week by myself, and I would ride my bicycle to the track. And so the start of the race, like it was like I said, I was getting thirds and fourths, and something clicked in those eights, and I won the eights, quarters, semis, and mains. And then I rode myself back to the hotel. Plenty of people offered to give me a ride back to the hotel, but I was like, no, like I came here alone. I'm going to end this alone. And like I start to cry every single time. Like I think about like riding back to the hotel, just bawling my eyes out, like seeing my visualizations like come to fruition because I hadn't expected it, right? And it ended up, aside from the bonk on the third straightaway, like that was the lap that I envisioned, and to see that come true, and to finish the cycle, because I had, after that, like I won junior men, junior cruiser, elite men, and elite cruiser, and I don't know how many in the course of our sports history have done that.
Has
So
anybody else done that without really putting some research thinking into it? I don't think
I
they
don't,
have, has they?
I don't know. I think one. I don't know who it was.
Christoph would have, but it wasn't called junior. He won 17 and 17, 18 cruiser, and then he won cruiser, and he won a lot of cruisers, as you know, at Worlds, and obviously he won elite a couple times as well. But if that counts, maybe. But I can't think of anybody else. Can you?
I don't. I mean, I don't know if it's Sylvain. Like, I think that he, somebody like him or like him, like definitely did like junior and elite either in the same year or consecutive or
I
somewhere
think
close to that.
Sam won 2 juniors as well, right? And an elite, but he never did cruiser.
Yeah, yeah. So, well, yeah, cruiser. It's less
It
than.
counts. It counts. It
I know
counts.
it counts. I know it counts, but it was easier. So we're not going to say that that's not the case. So yeah, I mean, even if I was one of a handful or one of two or whatever it was, like, yeah, what a feeling to know that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I guess before we hit on the Olympics, because you another one, you doubled at the '01 Worlds, which was a great one for me as well, at that terrible
Yeah.
track in Kentucky. But you doubled junior and junior cruiser. So what do you remember much about that?
It was so cool. It was. I still remember the same hotel. I stayed in the hotel that I stayed for that race, the same one that I stayed for Louisville, Kentucky, the NBL Grands and everything. So it was just, I don't know, like when you look back in certain instances, it was very clear that they were just meant to be. It just they just clicked. Everything just from the travel, the hotel, the memories, like it was just all like, wow, that was just so meant to be. It was just one of those instances too. Biggie and the support, and just, yeah, overcoming that difficult track, going for the AM section when Ronnie Dugdale went to the pro side, and that's where I essentially got the win, and Ian Stoffel was in right behind me. So yeah, it was just of course I knew that I could probably do it, that I had to be probably one of the best in the world, but you never quite know until you get on people's turfs, and they came to ours this time, and I was able to make it work. And Biggie made me a bet. He was like, well, if you like, I don't know, if you double or something, you've got to like drive home across the country with me pulling the trailer. And that was actually happened. So it was cool. Like I remember driving back with him, listening to Leonard Skinnard, and kind of busting out the drive all the way through. So yeah, it's just those memories, despite how many concussions I've had, will never leave me, and I'm very happy to know that.
Was that a big deal for you winning the Worlds, or did you just like kind of put it on level with anything else you were doing at the time, like amateur, ABA, NBL?
Oh, it was huge. Absolutely. I mean, that was like okay, it's time to go pro. What else can I do now? The NAG ones, and being in conjunction with the NAG 5 challenge, all the superstars of the time, and then going out and winning worlds like that was like, it's time. What else can I do? Why else would I stick around? All the effort, all the people that were in my corner helping me to get to that point. Why not just make the transition? It was very black and white at that time. So let's make it happen. It sucks that the whole power light thing, Robinson thing, went under, because man, what a much easier career I probably would have had I just been able to go into power light, under Mario Soto, start to make a living, have Biggie still in the corner. Like that would have been the dream come true. It's crazy how difficult actually finding a steady, solid bike and title sponsor it had been for me after that point. But I wasn't unfamiliar with adversity and struggle, and so it was just another part of the game. And I don't regret any of it or wish it had been different. It's just, it all worked out like it was supposed to.
Yeah, and then obviously you went on to turn pro. You actually did really well with a lot of sponsors, and you got a lot of going into that first Olympics. You got a lot of outside sponsorship as well. So maybe, yeah, tell everybody a few of those outside deals that you got.
It was all great. I mean, from the very get-go, when Bubba Harris and I turned pro at the same exact race, we certainly did or tried to do things different. Not that the guys like you and everybody before us were complacent or lazy or anything like that. You knew how to get things done. You were very solid in your career and your deals and all that stuff. And here come the new generation, and we're
pedaling to the line.
Yeah, we're pedaling all the way to the finish line. I've told this story like multiple times in the last couple months. Like when I crashed with Steve Veltman in the first turn at Phoenix, and he got up and I got up and I passed him at the finish line, and here he comes like charging up on me. Like, you can't do that. If you crash somebody, you've got to let them win. Like type thing. And my dad coming into my corner because I remember that do a V-Dog, and then having V-Dog as one of my coaches in 2012. It's just the full circle and all that stuff. Yeah. So yeah, we tried to do things the best that we possibly could. And so, promoting sponsors, sending post-race reports, all that stuff, that allowed me to start making money. Fly Racing was, I think, my first pro sponsor. And it started to build after that. After a few years, I got, Monster Energy, and that was amazing. And so I would see my salary essentially start to double every year. And telling the story, this one never gets old. It's like, I did the right thing at the right time with the right people watching when it came to the Olympics. We were the newest Olympic sport. I was the hottest shot in pro racing starting in 2006. And it went, like, again, from black to white, just nothing to everything. And I can't give German Medina enough credit for how he just transformed my body and my mind. And to do that, knowing this history that he had with Mario Soto, it was such a great connection. And so, yeah, everything started to flourish from there. Like I said, with us being the newest Olympic sport, it was intriguing to these non-endemic sponsors. And I got to give props to Will Rells. I mean, I know he owes me a lot of money from the Formula days.
Do you ever see him on Facebook or anything, or like?
No. The closest contact because CC Hightower, he's friends with him, and I think that he still sees him around. So every time I see CC, we kind of chat about where Will is at.
Yeah.
But yeah, he owes me a lot of money, and people will ask me, and I'll be like, hey, I mean, I Will also hooked me up with Octagon, which was Michael Phelps's agency. And so I had Hershey and AT&T, McDonald's.
Who you was? I can't say it. Packard.
Hewlett Packard. That was after. So I got that
Right.
was Bryce Betts. His dad, he was the one that got me Hewlett Packard.
Oh,
it was
cool.
just a friend of his. And so it was crazy, right? Bro deals, but that was a very big bro deal.
Yeah.
And so it all worked out. And boy, I was supposed to do this interview thing in my office, and then the connection wasn't as good. But yeah, everything in my office is just, it's cool to walk in there. And yes, I'm living the same life, but a different life. It all depends on how you like phrase it with Dr. Jason Richardson. But it was a very great time to look back at.
Yeah, no, you must be very content, and what you did was you went on to great things. I think because you caught the tail end of our era, and then you moved into obviously the era with Mikey Day, Bubba, and everybody, and Warwick, and I mean, it can go on for on and on. So I think you definitely had a good run. Real quick then, Olympics 08. You started off the day right with a crash. That's when we first saw the ice vest, right? First round.
I believe, I don't know if it was the first round, but yes, the three races that we had on the first day, I had a crash in. It absolutely was the first lap.
And the visor came down, right?
Yeah. In the rhythm section, the most like alone, like embarrassing crash that I could possibly have. And the photographer got a photo of it me going off the track, right? So we can relive those days all day long. And so yeah, it did not go well that first moto. And then the second day I had a crash in the very last semi race. And that one was one I tell to school kids when I'm presenting to them. I'm like, look, man, I crashed in that last lap. Like I made it through the first day, got to go to the second day, which was delayed by the rain. And so we went in those 3 races, those 3 semis, and the last one I crashed on the first straightaway. Visor was in the face.
Yeah.
And I know that Jerry Landrum has a photo of this somewhere.
I've seen
but
it somewhere, yeah.
it's no, and so on the second straightaway, like I jumped every jump except for the berm jump because the visor was in my face, and so I continued on, and multiple people crashed with me. I think there was like 3 or 4 of us. Like 1 or 2 like wasn't able to go down the second straightaway or whatever, and I ended up passing them. And had I not, like, I think I had 1 place to spare, but had I not gotten up from that crash, I wouldn't have made the main. So yeah, it certainly wasn't an easy road. I think I ended up with the 6th lane pick, and I just said, screw it, let's just take gate 8 and try to beat Maris. And so that I don't know how that all would have played out had I picked a more inside gate, but like I said, things were meant to be, and I got there, and I got the worst of the best, being 3rd, but that tangible medal that is proof that, you know, me and growing up small and being told that I wouldn't make it in every single part of my career was just proof. Like, look, it is possible. You may not be the best of the best, or you may not get exactly what you want, but gosh darn it, it could have been a whole lot worse. And I think that my life has turned out pretty well. I mean, whether it's monetarily or the mindset of, you know, it's just don't ever give up, because that next day might be that day that you break through, right? Don't give up one day too early, because you never know what can happen the next day.
Yeah, and what a turnaround from the Olympics. I think a lot of people can learn that today. A lot of the top riders that start off have a bad practice or a bad couple laps, and then they just go further in the hole. How you turn that around just, you know, shows your mental strength, how you could do that. So after the Olympics, did you benefit? You know, like I say, you had some great sponsors. It seemed like it was a good couple years after that, right?
Yeah, I mean, it all, and I wasn't told otherwise. I knew that those deals would likely end right after the Olympics. My agent, Heather Novickis, she said, like, hey, I know you want to be on Dancing with the Stars. Had you won gold, you probably would have made that bronze. Not exactly that important. So I got some bonuses for that 3rd, but nothing really carried on that much. I mean, I was able to extend AT&T, so free phones, free service, some money. I think I took that through 2012. Most everything else kind of fell off. I got to do some appearances and one-off stuff that allowed me to bring in a little bit more money, but nothing was ever like it was in 2008. Because after that, you know, it's starting in 2010, it kind of just fell away from me, and I wasn't the it guy anymore. I was the veteran trying to still do good, but I wasn't the guy. Here comes Connor, and so it all kind of just went away after that. And then in 2014, right, I didn't have anybody paying me anything. It was all on my own. And that was fine. I had a great run, and I certainly wasn't, I didn't start the sport for the money. I wasn't going to end the sport for the money. I was going to fund myself. I was going to hopefully go out on my own terms, and I was able to, like I did. So yeah, no regrets there.
Who was someone, did you say, your biggest rivals during your pro career?
Bubba, 100%.
Yeah.
I have always had a very big problem with concerning myself with other people and what they do and what they get and how they're getting what they're getting and what they're doing. Like that was I think the biggest turnaround for me when I started doing well is I stopped worrying about other people. I worried about myself, right? Stop worrying about the deals that other people are getting and what you're not getting and all this stuff. And so Bubba was, like I said, like he was as it of a guy as I was, and us to turn pro at the same time, and him to turn himself double A as like a hey, I'm just going to do this quicker than everybody else, and I'm going to make my name. And clearly he did it, and you know, one of the best of all time. But it was Bubba, because it was just like, if you can't surpass the hero at the time, like, what are you going to play second fiddle? Like, I don't ever want to be that. I don't want to get second place. I don't want to be in the shadows of everybody. And not that to say that anybody else that was still in the game that was nearing retirement type thing was any less important or not a threat or whatever. Like that wasn't the case. It was just Bubba was like my target for some reason, and not again that I was trying to beat him or take him out or best him or anything like that. It was just like he was a model of what you wanted to be. Like, not that Bubba was my hero, but gosh darn it, he was doing it in all these areas. And if I wanted to be like Bubba, I wanted to be better than Bubba. So that was the guy for me.
Was there anybody you didn't like to race against?
All the vets. I mean, it was
probably grumpy old vets at the time, right?
Unbelievable. You guys were so ruthless. I mean, Greg and John and Christoph and you and Afro Bob, like it was just you knew you were going to get treated if you treated you guys incorrectly. And there was so much to think about, right? It was like just the race, it's just the dynamic of everything, like the words and how you would act in the pits and what you would do on the track. It was like all of these unspoken rules and stuff that you had to learn the hard way to figure out. Yeah, it was rough. I mean, clearly I had guys that were familiar with me, like Stumpy and all that stuff. They knew who I was, and not to say that you guys didn't like me or anything like that, but we were the young crop, and you didn't want us taking your paycheck and all of that stuff. So it was very hard to battle with our heroes that we looked at as successes in the sport, paving the way for us. You guys didn't want to let that go, and rightfully so. But it was very, very dangerous to battle with all you guys.
I think it was tough for us because we were getting beat by a kid with a uni seat, you know? Good stuff. Let's finish up on current pro racing. What's your thoughts? Who do you like to watch? Going into, I guess they're in the next Olympic cycle. What's your thoughts on all that?
Yeah, I don't know. Just we always say it, right? The level is higher than ever. It's incredible. Could we have competed right at our top with those that are at the top now? We'll never know any of those questions or answers, but it is very spectacular to see what the athletes, male and female, are doing. Seeing the young up and comers find their way. Like, hey, how are you going to survive, right? In the sport nowadays, what are you going to do? Please stick with it. Like, you never know when things are going to turn around, and to give up and walk away from something that you've probably dedicated the majority of your life to would just be silly at this time. Not that people all have that freedom to do, right? I lived at my parents' house till I was 25 and I got married. Like, I was making more money than my parents combined when I was living at their house, right? Like, mom's still cooking breakfast, paying for my gym membership, which my mom still does pay for my gym membership. Is very weird.
What a nice mom.
Yes. So it's great. And so to see the Isaac Kennedys and Josh McLean, by the way, love Josh McLean's style, reminiscent of Kurt Picard. Just one of those styles, right, that you look at and you're like, oh man, I wish I could have been like that. Same thing with Kyle Bennett. But it's just, then there's the incredible dads that are out there knowing what it takes to be a dad and to perform still at the highest level that sport has probably arguably ever been. The Corbin, Sylvain, Joris, it's wow. So I cheer them on. I don't know, just quite a bit, because I know all that it takes to do what they're doing right now, but also love to see the Cam Larsons, Cam Woods, come in and just elevate things and be that new guy that I once was. It's cool to watch that. And, you're not in the pits, you're not at the races, so you don't know exactly how things are going down and how people are reacting. I'm sure Joris and those guys and Corbin aren't acting the same way as you guys were, but that's the way the sport goes. That's the generations coming in do what we did just earlier on in life and maybe more intelligently, and that's how they become better than us. And so we see exactly where they can elevate the sport to.
All right, one more question because I just thought of it. Who's a GOAT in your eyes?
Oh my gosh, for me it's about so much more, I guess, than results. Stumpy is always, I think, my GOAT, just as like personally and professionally. Wow. But you cannot. It's just I don't know. Joris, Maris, Sam, Bubba, going back, Christoph, Gary Ellis, and there's people that I'm missing too, right? Like putting me on the spot. I certainly wouldn't consider myself, which is okay. But some people did, right? When USA BMX did that poll some years back, and I got up quite a ways, whether to quarters or semis or whatever it was.
Oh, they did do that, didn't they? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and it was cool to see, right?
Yeah.
But there's so many people that came before us, right? There was that were
Stu and
better
Greg
than
and
us.
everybody,
So
yeah.
yeah, so just so that humble piece, and like, man, I wish I would have been better. I wish I would actually be in that contention for the greatest of all time. But when you consider all things, right, like what you should have been and body composition or all of these things, like I think that I rank high up there because I think that I went quite far with the cards that I was dealt. So that was cool. But boy, oh boy, the things that people are doing. I mean, throw Elise in the picture. I mean, come on, we can't. Nobody's, I don't think, ever going to do what Elise has done in the sport. So it's not a male female thing, and this argument will never be decided. You just got to understand that our sport has had so many greats in the decades that we've been around that that you wonder why we aren't like national heroes for the stuff that we've done. It's a crying shame. But it's very easy for me, and one of the things that I actually pride myself in, like telling the stories of who the pros from yesteryear used to be. Like I don't know Greg Hill as the racer or Stu Thompson as the racer. I know them as people kind of, but you know, the era that I grew up in, when there's the Charles Townsends and Gary Ellis's and Dale Holmes around, when I see Charles Townsend at the state finals at Oak Creek in Roseville, like I bring my team together and I say, look, this is this guy. Like, let me explain to you who he is. When I see Robert DeVilde at a national and my team's around, and I say, look, you got to understand who this guy is. So it's just it's cool to have been able to be a part of the generations that I have, and to make the friendships and to battle with the people. But there's so many goats, but when you look at it, it's like it's hard to really break it down because it's all just a little bit different. But you can't. There's the goats of the goats. There's and like I said, I've already named them: the Sam, the Marises, the Bubbas, the Connors. It's all something that cool that you've got to like search in the back of your mind, like, whoa, we're missing people still.
Nick
There's
Hinman,
so
yeah.
Nick, and there's so many, crazy, right? That there's so many people that you forget that could be classified as the best to have ever done it.
Pistol Pete, yeah, well, it's an ongoing debate. I love, when people start those threads and stuff. It's kind of fun, just listening to everyone's different perspective. Always fun, always a good conversation. You've almost got to do one for every era now. The sport's getting, it's getting pretty long. I think it's 50 years probably now, 40, 50 years. So, yeah, but still always a good debate. Donny, always good chatting. We should maybe hop on again at some point, do some Carl Bennett stories or something like that. Would be pretty cool. I know you and Kyle had some. Spent a lot of time together and got some good stories. So maybe we'll do that down the road. All right, finishing up. Donny, if anybody wants to get hold of you.
Cool. You know me.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to check out all your stuff, what you're doing, Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah, Instagram, Facebook, Donny Robinson. Yeah, Donny at DonnyRobinson.com for email. And yeah.
Right on. Thanks, Donny. Good chatting.
Thank you very much, Dale.
Thanks.